Hello, and welcome to the last video of this particular course, AADA01, where we're going to look into the last program on our list, which is InDesign, right? So we already covered Photoshop and Illustrator in previous videos, and now it's finally time for some InDesign work, right? So as you will open up the program, this window will greet you, and this is like any other starting window in Adobe package, which basically shows you the recent files that you worked on. As you can see, I haven't worked with InDesign for quite a while now, and also it gives you a few templates to design with, and none of these will work. We will be using a custom template that we will create ourselves. So actually, let's begin doing that. So I'll ignore all of this, and I'll immediately go to Create New, right? I'll click on that, which will, Create New. Yeah, there we go. Which will give me this menu here. So with this menu, I can set up quite a few things, right? First and foremost, it's the size of my document, right? So here we definitely decide how big the final document is going to be, in centimeters. So here, for some reason, my units are set to be picas, which is, I don't even know what that is. Something to do with Pikachu, maybe. Instead of picas, we will be using millimeters or centimeters, up to you. I prefer using millimeters to type in, right? So millimeters. And now here I can type in the size of my pages. So I will be using A3 pages, right? A3 sized pages. So that's going to be, again, and I will have them horizontal, right? So the width is going to be larger, and that's going to be 420 millimeters. And the height is going to be 297 millimeters. There we go. So right now I've just described that this is going to be an A3. I could even call this preset something. I will just call it A3, my A3 preset. There we go. And now for the pages, so here you kind of describe how many pages you will want, right? And you can later on in the file itself, you can add or remove pages, so it doesn't really matter what you give it here. But I always like to start with, at least a rough estimate of how many pages I will need. So I'll start with, I don't know, 3. Just for the sake of it, I'll do 5 so that we can remove a few. So I'll start with 5 pages. The starting page is 1. That's fine. Yeah, that's what we want. And then there's like columns, margins, and so on. So in case of margins and columns, I would keep this as default, and I wouldn't change much. Margins is basically the offset from the sides of the paper where you don't want to print, right? So around the edge of the paper, you don't want to print, and that edge is 12.7 millimeters thick, right? So those are the margins of the paper where you're not going to print. I think that's fine. If you want to print throughout the whole paper, that's fine as well. You can just use margins of 0 here. Right, and then you have one more thing, which is facing pages, right? So actually, can I click on preview? What does this do? Yeah, sure. Well, that doesn't do much. Okay, so preview doesn't matter. I'll just say facing pages. I'll have this turned on, right? And I'll show you what it gives me. So I'll just click create. Okay, so this is the file that I've made, right? And holding down the Alt key and scrolling the wheel will zoom out, right? So as I zoom out, I can see that it starts with one page here, So that's like the title page, and it gives me like a book layout, right? So 2 pages per, per opening. So facing pages means that you're going to do something like a book, right? Book type of a document. In our case, we don't want that. We just want, like page, them just going in a row rather than like so. So let me close the file, and I can close it right here, clicking in the top left corner, not right, top left corner, clicking there. So it's going to close it. I'll create a new file again, but this time I will choose to not have. Did I not save my preset? Oh, come on. Okay, so this time I will choose to not have facing pages. So I'll have that turned off, and let me really quickly, millimeters, 420 by 297, right? Just have all of the settings the same, except that facing pages right now is turned off. I hit create, zoom out. Oh, right, that's only 1 page. Okay, let me do that again. Oh my god. Okay, create new. Sorry about this. Create new, millimeters, 420, 297, that's perfect. Facing pages turned off, pages 5. Yes, I want 5 pages. Great. There we go. So now we have 5 pages, and you can see they're just in a row, like one after the other. So that's what we want. Okay, super. How's my camera? Seems to be glitching a little bit. Yeah, maybe that's fine. Okay. So now, moving on, once you have this whole shebang done, right, you want to start adding stuff to it. Let me go through the menu real quick. So on the left-hand side, just like in Photoshop or Illustrator, you have your menu, right? So it's like colors, stroke, you have the pen tool, the text tool, the line tool, blah, 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 all of those things. Even the gradient tool, yeah, even the gradient tool. You have it in Illustrator, but I would prefer using Photoshop for that kind of stuff, honestly. Either way, so the tools are here, and I will cover some of them. Some of them I will skip, those that are not important. Then you have your right-hand side menu, which is properties, pages, and libraries, right? So the one that I work with most, let's see, honestly, like the 2 that I work with are called properties. So I will just click and drag. See how I click on the name, properties, and I just drag it out like so that I have it as a separate menu. You can do that in Adobe programs. So properties, I work with that quite a bit. And also pages, I work with that quite a bit. Libraries, I will drag it out just so that I can close it, right? So that I can click that X button so that it closes. Okay, so we have our pages, and we don't just want like these windows to fly about, we want to dock them. So I will click on this top ribbon line thing, this guy, right? I will click and drag on it, and as I hover next to the corner of the screen, you can see that it becomes blue. If I release my mouse, it gets docked, like the panel, the menu gets docked here. I will do the same thing with properties, only for properties, I will try to, will it let me? No, it doesn't let me dock it in the top for some reason. That's weird. It should, but it doesn't. Who cares? I will dock it here in the bottom, right, like so. Bam. So now they're like one next to the other. All right, so now we see the properties of the file, and I don't really need to fix them. If I want to jump to, let's say, page 1, I just double click it here in the pages menu. If I want to jump to page 2, I click it I double click it there, so I can kind of jump between pages like that, right? And see how in page menu there is this A, like letter A right above your page. That is, how do we call it? Let's call it an overlay, right? Something that is added on top of the page. It's basically called a master page, and it's added on top. Let me explain how that works real quickly. So right now all of the pages have the same master page, and you can find the master page right here, a master, this guy right here, right? So I will double click it, right? So this is my master page. You can see it's right now as I double clicked it, it's the only thing in the file on my screen. So as I zoom into it, I will grab the type tool, the text tool, which has the large T, right? So it's hard to miss. Text tool. I will click it and I will drag out a rectangle, right? So click and drag out this kind of rectangle, release, and then you have, you know, a box in which you will write your text. And notice how, according to the tool that I use, the properties tab changes. Actually, let me expand it a bit. Yeah, so the properties tab will always change according to what kind of tool is currently active. If no tool is active, then the properties tab will show you the properties of the file itself, right, of the project itself. Right, so now for the text, let me just write good banana is a yellow banana. I don't know, something, right? I just wrote some text, some random text, and I can change its font, of course. So let's say I would spend way too long here if I had the time, but like Arial black, 60 points, no, that's too big, 36 points, something like that. Let's say it's centered. I'm just kind of going through the settings here and just messing around with them so that you can see what's what basically, what you can change here. If I want all of this text to be capital letters rather than small letters, like capital and small letters, I can do that if I remember how. Is it under options? Change case. Yeah, it's the button here, change case, right? Change case, and then you choose uppercase. Good banana is a yellow banana. Okay, so we have that. And remember, we are still in our master page, right? A master, this guy here. And all of these pages have A like attached to them. So now if I kind of double click on any one of them, I will see, and zoom out, I will see that that text from the master page has been applied to every page. Why is this useful? Well, for many reasons. First of all, you can have templates, right? So you can have like a cohesive design that you design in the, let's say you have 60 pages that you need to do, right? And all of them need to have some sort of a marking and some sort of a, you know, graphic. So you don't want to copy the graphic 60 times. Instead, you will do a master page, and you will kind of just apply that master page to those 60 pages. Much easier, right? So in this case, what you can't do here in regular pages now is you can't select the text, right? It's not selectable. You can't do anything with the text because it only exists in the master page right here. Here you can select it and you can kind of move it around and mess around with it. So you can only select it in the master page, but you can't select it in the regular pages, right? So what if you want, okay, let's do something more cohesive, not cohesive, but useful, more useful. Let me zoom in here. Take this, and instead of good banana is a yellow banana, I will write page spacebar. Apologies. So page spacebar, and here I want numbering for pages. So I could say 1, you know, page 1. Make it smaller. Make the font smaller as well. This is very big. 36 points. Let's go for 24 points at least. Maybe even smaller. But I make the box smaller as well, and I'll just drag it right here. Page 1. And perhaps I will anchor it to the right-hand side. Notice how, by the way, to change stuff about the text, first I need to select the, you know, I don't just select it like so, even though it kind of works as a paragraph, but I don't think the font will work, or will it? Let's see. No. So changing font doesn't work. To actually change font of a text, you need to drag and select, you know, select the text, and then you can change font of it. So let me go for my favorite one, which is Calibri. Calibri light. There we go. Very light font. So we have page 1, right, as our master in our A master. If I double click on any one of the pages, it's going to see page 1, page 1, page 1, page 1. Well, that sucks, right? We want numeration of these pages, so we need to fix that. I'll go back to A master, and here I will say, actually, instead of 1, we need a special symbol, spacebar. We need a special symbol that will dictate, that will kind of count which page it actually is, and it will give us a number, right? So that special symbol can be accessed by right-clicking in the text box. You do need to be in the text box. By right-clicking in the text box, go and choosing insert variable. Wait, chapter number. Sorry, it's not insert variable. Insert special character, symbols. It's not a symbol. Why am I, wait, yeah, there we go. Insert special character, markers, current page number. There we go. Yeah. Current page number. And then it's going to just give you a letter A, but that's fine because, and I'll give it the spacebar. That's fine. The letter A just means that we are in the A master, but if I double click on one of the pages, it's going to see page 1. I double click on page 2, it's going to see page 2. Double click on page 3, page 3. So now it's counting pages, right? And it's giving us. Imagine how shitty it would be to actually need to write, you know, like numeration for every page. That would take a while for a long book, right? So that's one thing. Another thing is, what if you need 2 masters, right? What if you don't want all of the pages to have numbers, to have numbering, or if you want, you know, some of the pages to have like chapter 1, you know, some sort of a cool graphics with a sign, chapter 1, and so on. So then you need 2 masters, and to do 2 master pages. To do that, you right click on a master. Or actually, I think you right click anywhere. Yeah, you just right click anywhere near a master here and choose new master. new master, prefix B, super, that's fine. Name, master, sure. Based on master, so you can inherit already what exists in a master here. You know, this page numeration, you can inherit it, or you can just start completely blank. That's up to you. Number of pages, only one. Yes, one page. Page size A3, yeah, so everything else is fine. I just hit OK. And now we can see here I have A master, B master, right? And my B master is completely empty. So let me just create a text saying this belongs to B master page. And just make it bigger. There we go. Okay, so now we have A master, and which is the numeration, and we have B master, which is, you know, it has this lettering here, and then we, unfortunately, all of the pages that we currently have belong to A master, right? Like this previous master page here. So how do we apply this new master page to any one of these, right? Well, I believe we just drag, right? So we click on the icon of the B master and we just drag it on the page that we want it to have, right? So now I just dragged it on page 2. So if I zoom out, I can see page 1 has master A, page 2 has master B, right? So this is numbering. This is text, and then all other pages have master A, so that's numbering, right? So that's how you work with masters, and the bigger the project, the more master pages you will have. Let me actually drag back master A to page 2. I just created a second master just to show you how it works. By the way, zoom in, zoom out, again, to just repeat it, it's with the Alt key and using the scroll wheel. You can zoom in or zoom out. Okay, let me delete master B. So you can delete it by just selecting it and clicking this trash bin here. You can also do the same thing with pages. Let's say I don't need page 5. I just select it and click delete, right? If I, let's say, select page 3 and delete it, page 4 will become page 3, right? I still end up with one less page, but the remaining ones take up the spot. So page 1, page 2, page 3, right? I'm left with 3 pages. Actually, let's do one more. I want 4-page document for my example. So I will create a new page by just clicking this create new page button. Oh, by the way, it matters which page you are currently selecting, right? So if I select this guy and I create new page, a new page will be created between page 1 and page 2. If I select page 3, a new page is going to be created right after page 3, like that. Okay, so we have that done. Let's do something. So mostly in InDesign, you write text and you add stuff from other programs, right? So graphics from other programs. We have already created Illustrator graphics and we have created Photoshop graphics, right? And I believe InDesign doesn't really care if, you know, what kind of format you use for graphics. I think InDesign can read quite a few. Let me just double check so that I'm not lying to you. Place RTF images, all PDFs, RTF files, animated packages. So you can add animations, you can add Word files, Excel spreadsheets. Okay, yeah, so yeah. It can import a lot of different formats. So in our case, we will be importing images, right? At least a Photoshop image is going to be an image, and the Illustrator output can be either an image or Illustrator file or a PDF file, doesn't matter, but it's quite the same procedure. So to import stuff, or to add stuff, let's say here I want to see my Photoshop file. You do Control D, or if you're a Mac user, Command D, or you can just go to File, Place, right? Same thing. Or you can just drag and drop that particular file from a folder right into your Illustrator, InDesign file. So let me minimize that. So you can just take it and just drag and drop it in like so. And then you can see that it's still not there in the file, right? But it's locked to my cursor. So if I click my cursor, then my mouse, then it kind of gets dropped in. So I can kind of slightly choose where it gets dropped in, right? And then I can click and drag on it to position it. I wonder if it's going to, yeah, okay, and now it's blocking out my beautiful numbering. We'll fix that. That's not a problem. Okay, so that was just drag and dropping it in. But with the place, File, Place, or just simply Control D, it's quite the same thing. You go to your folder where you have the file, and you find the file, and you just hit Open and click, right? You can do the same thing with multiple files, but in this case we don't have that many, so I'm just going to do it one by one. All right. So now we have this guy here, right? And let's say you have two Photoshop images. Let's say, for the course, for the task, you did 2 Photoshop images and 2 Illustrator images, right? So I'll just mimic as if this and this were actually different images. I know they're not, but let's imagine that they are different. I can do this if that's gonna help. Right? So let's say they're different images. Oh, by the way, the thing that I did, if you select an image and you right click on it, you can, there's plenty of options for you to look at, right? So you can cut, copy, paste, that's, regular ones. You can paste into, which is if you have an empty outline. This rectangle frame tool is the empty frame, I guess that's the better word. If you have an empty frame, you can select this image, for instance, copy, right? And then select that empty frame, and then right click and choose paste into, and then it's going to be pasted into this empty frame, right? So that's kind of useful. The weird thing is that the image kind of keeps its own keeps its size, but that's fine. I will show you how to resize it later on. Let me delete that. Okay, next up we have zooming. So fit selection in window is one of the more useful ones. So actually, let me come back to this, right? Where the image doesn't fit in the frame, or I can kind of mimic it by clicking on the image here. Let me center it. By clicking on the image here and moving the control points of the bounding rectangle, like so. So I'm just clipping the image, right? So after doing this, like so, or let me keep it like that. After doing this, I can right click on the image again and choose, was it fitting? No, it was zoom. Fit selection. Okay, so sorry. That was the wrong one. This is just for the visual, right? So you actually zoom in with your camera to the picture. That was the wrong Wrong tool, sorry. We will get to the tool that I wanted to show in just like 5 seconds. You have transformation tools, which are very close to what you would see in Photoshop. You know, movement, scaling, rotation, shear. Shear is just, you know, like a trapezoid. It just kind of moves at an angle. Rotation. So you can rotate the image, you can flip the image, and you can clear all rotation, scale, and so on. Transforms if you are lost. Then transform again, if you kind of scaled it and you want to scale it again, you can just do transform again, right? You can scale it again. So it just repeats. Then you have selection. If the object, if you have like two things, one on top of each other, and you want to select the one that's below, but it always kind of selects the one that's at the top, then you can just choose next object below, right? And it will select the one underneath. Quite helpful, but I don't know. Then you can lock it, you can hide it, you can change the stroke weight. So let me do 10 points so that you can see what's going on, right? So it's going to create this outline. Let me change this to 0 points to not have a stroke. And then this is what I wanted to show, fitting, right? Fitting. And if I choose fill frame proportionally here, it just fills the frame, right? I can also choose for fitting, fill content proportionally rather than frame. Then it's going to make sure that the whole image is visible inside of the frame, right? So there are two ways of how you can fit an image if the frame and the image have different aspect ratios, and those are the two ways that I showed. Then, yeah, other ones are whatever. Content aware fit is, I don't even know. Yeah, it's whatever, nonsense. So that's how it works. I can show show you the same thing on this one as well, right? I right click it. What the hell? Right click. There we go. Make sure that the border is selected when you know you select it first, and then you right click it, and then you go to fitting, fit frame proportionally. Perfect. Perfect fit. Let me delete it now. So now I will fix this real quick. Drag it out, drag it out. It kind of snaps a little bit. Oh, by the way, those pink outlines, those are the margins. This is basically what you're saying that, oh, I don't want to print outside of these. So all of my stuff is going to be inside. We are going to completely disregard that rule that we just imposed on ourselves and kind of do whatever we want. It doesn't matter. It's just, you know, for safety. And we are not safe in this course. So fitting, fit frame proportionally. Bam, I have my image here. I can still, okay, let's continue going through the list, because this is something that I find quite important. We have effects, so you can kind of mess around with transparency, drop shadow, like inner glow, outer glow. So you can slightly like do some Photoshop stuff. I'm just waving my hand. Do some Photoshop stuff here in Illustrator, but I don't think it's that good. I think it's better to do it in Photoshop if you need to. Then you can add captions, so you can add comments to your pictures, but that's also whatever. Edit original, that's nice. It will open it up in Photoshop, I believe, but we will not be messing with that. Find similar images, don't even know what that means. Interactive, that's whatever. Tag frame. Okay, and then the last one that I will show here is display performance. So usually you have a high quality display, right? So it's showing either as high quality or as typical display. But sometimes you want to use fast display, like that. It will not show the image itself. The reason why you do that is when you have really big, heavy images and you have a lot of them, your computer will slow down drastically, right? So if you feel that your document is unmanageable, then the pictures that you already know are in the correct place, you just do this, fast display on them, right click, display performance, fast display. You do that and they will not slow down your computer. Usually I just use view setting here and it's kind of fine. Wanna see me struggle a bit? Let's try and figure out how to show page 1 which is underneath, like how to show that text, page 1, which is underneath the image without actually doing this, right? Because I don't want to do this. This is not nice. So the thing that we are going to be looking for is blending mode of the image itself. And I have absolutely no idea where it is. I know that it exists. That's all I know. So now let's try and figure out together. And this is actually, I think the reason why I'm not cutting, like what the hell? Hello? Close. Okay. The reason why I'm not cutting the video and not just figuring it out by myself and then showing it later on to you is because at least I'll show you the thought process behind, right? And the way I search for functionality. I think that's quite useful for a professional. So let's go for options and see if there's something with the options. No, there's nothing with the options. Convert shape, that's not going to do it. I need something with blending, something that says blending. Arrange, maybe, no, arrange will not work. Import file, no. Edit with, no. Reveal in Explorer, no. Embed, no. Find similar images, no. Okay, so all of this is not the thing that I want. What if I select this central piece here? Because this central, you see the central circle? If I select that central circle and I drag it, I am actually moving the image, but the frame stays in place, right? So I can move the image around, right? And the image will always have a brown background. I can also, if I want to just resize the image, by the way, I can always use the Shift key and drag it, no? Control key and drag it down, yes, okay. If I use the Control key, I can resize it. I mean, you do lose the proportion, right, of it, but you can do that. I believe Control Shift will not let me break the proportion. Yes, holding down Control and Shift at the same time, clicking and dragging on the corner will not let me break the proportion, right? One thing is, if I don't do that, right, if I'm not holding Control and Shift and I click and drag, this will happen, right? So if this happens, you can still do the thing that I showed. You right click on the image and you go to fitting, fill frame proportionally, right? So you can still do that. Let me, but it's much better to just hold Control Shift and drag. Okay, back to our figuring out how the hell convert shape. No, figuring out how the hell to fix the blending. Effects, fitting, captions, edit original, edit with. It's not here. Is it under object? Clipping path, image color settings. Image color settings? No, it's not that. There should be something. Okay, let's see, under window, object and layout. No. Attributes, maybe. Styles, maybe. Utilities, no. Nothing here. Text wrap. Swear to God, if I don't find this in like 10 seconds, I'll just Google it. Color. Okay, I give up. I will Google it. Let me just InDesign. See, not that hard to start Googling. InDesign overlay, and not overlay, but multiply. Multiply effect. Blending modes. Okay, so yes, we need blending modes. So the panel that we're looking for is called effects. Window, effects. Right here, that's the panel. And here we see the blending modes, and we can choose multiply, and bam, our text is now visible. So that took me a while, but we have figured it out. And from time to time, I like to add stuff like this to tutorials, to my tutorials, just so that you can see, you know, everyone just Googles stuff. Okay, so we have that done, right? Effects tab was useful. In the effects tab, we have multiply, and you can find effects under window, effects. All right. And once I've used it, I will close it. So now we have, let's see, these two guys kind of done. And then I will do two more with the Illustrator part. So I will just go to desktop, find the Illustrator file, and just drag it in. Bam. Done. Place it. Copy. Paste. And I will just do the transform, flip horizontal, just so that it looks like this is a different file, a different image. Oh yeah, and I need to do the multiply for these guys as well. So window, effects, multiply, multiply. I explained what multiply does in the Photoshop tutorial. So if you're not sure what the hell is going on with the multiply, check out the Photoshop tutorial where I talk about it. I believe when I create the text, or maybe where I work with the shadows, and where I kind of cut out a duck. That's where I explain the multiply effect. Or multiply blending mode. Okay, so we have our stuff here set up. We have our like 4 images, and I just want to add my name here and maybe add a course code here, right? So for my name, I will probably just add it to one of the pages and not all of them. Or maybe I should add it to all of them, and the course code should be just on first page. Let's do it like that. Okay, so my name is going to be on every single page, right? So I'll go to a master, double click it, right? I'll create a new text, or rather let me be a little bit cheeky, and I'll just select the text that I've already created, Control C, copy, Control V, paste. So I just kind of create a new tab, not new tab, new text box this way, with all of the correct fonts and so on. And let me make this wider, like that. And let me write, or actually maybe I want this to be this wide, but the text should be centered like that. And I'll just give it my name, Gediminas Kirdeikis. Well, technically Ellen also did the Illustrator part, so, and Ellen, there we go. that. And now if I check every page, it will have my name and Ellen's name. Here, 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 and here. Okay. And now for the course code, I will just create a text file, create a text box somewhere here. I'm not in the master page, I'm just in a regular page, and I will just type in AADA01, Control A, just for rule of thumb, one font for one project. Never two fonts for the same project. Bad idea. One font, one project, right? The font can have some text that is bold, in bold letters, some text that is in non-bold letters, that's fine, but one font. Okay, so the font that I like to use is Calibri, and for this one I'll use Calibri Bold, and I will say 72, that's a lot, 60, right? Like that, and let me position it, make it a bit smaller, and just make sure that the paragraph is aligned to the right hand side, like this. AADA, oh, my camera, no, come back, camera, wait, just give me a second. Hello? Oh, come on. Battery died. I'll need to figure this out. There we go. We're back with a second camera that we have. So now the text is a little bit in your face, I think. It's a little bit too dark, right? So I want it to be less dark. And I can do that by messing around with its appearance, right? So for the fill is what's happening inside of the letters, stroke is what's happening outside of the letters, right? So the outline of the letters. For the fill, instead of completely black color, I will probably... which color should we... I will first of all select color, right here, color, and I will say, by the way, why does it only give me black and white colors? Well, that doesn't matter. We do want it to be gray, right? I'll just say light gray or mid gray, right? Something like that, right? And then for stroke, I will say the width of a stroke should be 0 point, or rather 1 point, 1 point like that. And I will change the color of the stroke here to be, wait, why are you not, hello? Ah, there we go, now it's changing. That was weird. So I will just change the color of the stroke to be black. Okay, so we fixed it. Okay, it's not black, it's white. Let's try again. Stroke, color. That is definitely not black color. Let me choose black and select. Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. AADA01. That was, for some reason, very clunky. Strange. You can draw in InDesign, which I don't recommend, but you can do it. So you do have like rectangle tools here, where you can draw a rectangle. Actually, let me draw it here, because here we have some white paper, right? So you can draw rectangles. If you want the rectangles to have to actually have a color inside of them, you can choose to have a fill for the rectangles, fill, and I'll just say red, right, for this guy, and maybe this rectangle. Maybe this rectangle has a fill of blue, but a stroke that is like 10 points, right? A thick stroke, but the corners of it are fancy or they are rounded, right? And then I can increase the roundness of the corners for this rectangle and the roundness. Oh, first I need to fix it, round it, and the roundness of the corners for this rectangle, and start, you know, I can just start messing around and doing some compositions with them, but it's, I hate it. I hate drawing with Illustrator. So it's not just rectangles, you can do ellipses, you can do polygons, and so on. You can also do gradients, but I won't even show you gradients. Scissors tool, I have no idea what that does. Hello, what do? You just cut stuff. And what now? Oh. Yeah, you basically just cut stuff away. No, I will not explain this. This seems like a very weird thing to do. What else? Honestly, that's all. That's, well, line tool, I guess. Line tool is useful. So line tool, same thing. If you hold down the shift key, the line will snap to 45-degree angles as you draw it. If you don't hold it, you can just draw it any way you want, right? Line, ta-da, another line. Basically that. You can change the stroke, you can change the fill. That's about it, right? Kind of, if you need to draw stuff, just draw it in Illustrator. Don't draw it in InDesign. Okay, let me get rid of the unnecessary things. I have my document. I have shown you most of the stuff, like for a beginner course. And let me finish up by exporting this. Well, first of all, let's save it. File, save as, desktop, and I'll just call it my AA, or rather, let's make it proper. Gediminas Kirdeikis AADA01. Save. That's your InDesign file. I don't want to see your InDesign file in the school servers. It should, you know, it's a work file, so that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is your PDF exported from the InDesign file. Those are two different things, right? So right now we have saved the InDesign file, and now I'm going to show you how to export the PDF out of the InDesign file. File. Is it export or is it publish? I never remember. I think it's maybe the same thing. Okay, let's do export. Export. Yes. Export Adobe PDF. Print, sure. Print is fine. Adobe PDF print. File name should be like that. Your name, your last name, AADA01. AADA01 is kind of optional, but I would really be happy if you added it, please. So first name, last name, AADA01, save. This whole thing pops up, right? Basically, just choose Adobe PDF preset, high quality print. That is going to take care of all of your problems and issues. Don't mess around with stuff here unless something is not working. I click export, and right here, see where my mouse is? Oh crap. Now it's gone. But right here, right next to help, there was this bar that was kind of moving up and down, showing loading, right? That meant that InDesign is thinking, right? It's doing something. It's trying to export, and it finished before I managed to make put a sentence together, so we missed it. But it's basically, you know that the file has finished exporting once the bar there is gone. So now let's check out the file. That's the PDF that I've just exported. Open it. Great. That's the first page, second page, third page, fourth page. We're done, right? We are done. We have the PDF. So now it's time to upload the PDF, and I promise that I will show you how to do that. So on the school's computers, again, you can do this only on the school's computers or through VPN connection, which only a few of you know how to do, and it's quite hard to properly set up, especially if you're a new user. But on the school's computers, you open up a folder, any folder, right? You open up a folder, and then you will see on the left-hand side, you will see your username, then shared folder, temp folder, public folder, and maybe some other stuff, I don't know. But it's mostly going to be like these four folders, right? One of them is going to be called temp, right? So you select it, you go to that folder or server, right? You choose unprotected, you scroll down, and you see AADA01 hand-in. You double click that, and all you need to do is just take your PDF and drag it in place. That's it. You close it. Now you just make sure that it's here. You might even want to kind of double click it and make sure that it opens up. It does open up, so it's here. You close it, and you are done. And of course, hope you enjoyed it.